Let's see, nobody's in here just yet. So in the playback, this is going to look awkward while I'm talking to myself. Let's adjust this a little bit. We have one person in here. Hi, Hot Tea. We have a few people in here. How intimate. Oh my goodness, I look so rough. I just got out of the shower, you guys. Hey, Samuel and Taylor. Let's see if I can make myself look a little more presentable. I don't know if that's all that doable. Go with your quick question. iPhone 11 Pro. Oh, yay. Samuel, did you like it? Hollywood? Hey, Dean. My day's going okay. I had to take a nap earlier, but I just came back from a fun trip. That's awesome, Samuel. I'm probably going to start watching more of it tonight, but what an interesting concept. We're talking about the show Hollywood on Netflix. Hey, Libby. Hey, Libby, look. We were talking about the show Hollywood on Netflix. I think it's brand new. I found it last night and started it, and gonna get comfy for you guys. Yeah, and I think I'm going to continue watching it. It's kind of an era piece. It takes place in like the 1940s, like right after the war. Hi, Lindsay and Alakazam in the UK. It's late over there. Aldo, and thank you, Michaela. It's a dress. I got it for like 15 bucks on Amazon. I'm a little unkempt, you guys. I just got back from, well, I'll tell you guys in a little bit after there's more people in, but I just hopped out of the shower and hopped on stream. So even though I look gross, I promise I'm clean. My legs are dead tired though. So Dean, you're in here. I'll go ahead and tell you guys. So my patrons in the $5 and up tier are gonna see, but I decided to go down to Georgetown today. I took a nap, and then I had like a couple hours, so I decided to hop on my scooter and head down to Georgetown to go find the Exorcist stairs. Whether or not we find them, we'll see. But yeah, I went down there on my scooter, but hi Ashley, hi Jessica. But if anybody's familiar with DC and like what Georgetown is like, there's just a ton of really steep hills. So just trying to make my way back home, I was really winded. That's funny, you were just watching one of my videos on Moon. Hi Tanya. Hey, Katie in the Sweet Nothing universe. All the way in Australia, Katie. Hi, Swamp Queen and Rochelle and Jocelyn and Jade. Okay, Jade, you're familiar with the area. Manassas, which was crowned the U.S.'s most livable city once. Isn't that true? I found that interesting. First thing Monday morning there. Oof. Hope I'm doing well. Thank you. Hey, you guys. Amari, Dory, Lily, Shelby. Hey, Molly and Jade. So many people. Yeah, so I was just telling everybody that, yeah, I think people are starting to, like, pile in. That's why I'm kind of like, hi, Elizabeth. Kind of like giving it some time. Everybody's sharing like what time it is, where they are. Yeah, sorry to anybody whose sleep schedule's a little off. I feel bad for you, those of you that are over in the UK, because I'm sure it's not a decent hour there. Hello, Seattle, and Margaret in North Carolina, and Adriana. Hello. UK gang. Over on Patreon, we have what we call Euro Squad chats, which is when I do essentially a live stream earlier in the day so that they can... I actually kind of addressed the Jeffree Star Davi Vanity thing in my last video. Like, I don't deep dive into the Davi Vanity stuff. That's not really, like, what my channel is about. Like, in one of my earlier videos, people asked about, whether or not I would do a video on Onision. And I said at the time that that's not something I saw myself. Oh, thank you. My hair's, like, I feel really insecure about it because I didn't have time to do anything with it. It's like I speak in cursive. That's so beautiful. You guys asked about my thoughts on Onision, or if I was going to do some sort of video on him, and I told you guys, like, when we're talking about things like that, hey Griff, we're talking about criminal matters, and that is not necessarily something that I feel like is appropriate for, like, you know, social commentary. I'm here to talk about everyday people and their interactions with each other and how we can do better, essentially, and to praise people when they do well. So to talk about things like Onision and Davi Vanity, stuff like that, that's when you're getting into, like, real investigative stuff. Thank you, Mara. I might talk about these things here and there, like, because, you know, Dissociated was coming up in conversation so much. By proxy, Team Pinata did too. So we did have to kind of talk about what was going on with Team Pinata. Thank you, Star. So as far as Davi Vanity goes, I would say probably not going to make a video on him. However, I want to know, I'm hoping most of the people in the chat, most of the people that are going to come to the chat are here. Yeah, go check out Repsion's videos on Onision. But in terms of, like, seriously, my thoughts on things like that, when we're talking about more serious things, sensitive topics, I think we're going to talk, hi Joe, we'll talk about Shallon Lester later. I may do a video, I'm not sure. I will address all the videos you guys have asked me about. But when it comes to really, like, sensitive matters, like, say, Davi Vanity and Team Pinata and what's going on with people, Colleen Ballinger probably can go in that category. I am probably in the next week we'll start creating and then editing and probably have up by the week after that a, like, what I keep calling a janky podcast, with one of my YouTube friends, I guess. It's a friend that I've made since the beginning of this process, and we have a lot of really great discussions. So thank you, Swamp Queen. So we will be doing, like, deeper dives into stuff like that. So if you guys really want to get like some really in-depth, really, like, cerebral, you know, conversations about this stuff, then I would say the podcast is where you're going to see a lot of that stuff. And over there, I think I'm going to censor myself a lot less. For my regular videos, I have to be pretty cognizant, right? Because I'm talking typically about matters that are somewhat sensitive. And so there's, you know, a high probability of me offending someone just by even talking about the things I talk about. So I have to be really careful in how I choose my words. Some of my opinions I feel like I have to keep to myself. I think on the podcast I'm going to be a little bit more honest about my opinions on things that in my main videos I don't feel as much liberty to do so, if that makes sense to you guys. So in terms of, I think right now the podcast is going to be called HelloCast. I mean, it just kind of makes sense for my channel name, because it will be part of my channel, so I don't want to give it, like, some crazy different name. Maybe that'll change down the road. Who knows? Maybe it'll fit. We'll see. But I think it's going to work. Amber and I are really excited to get this started. I'm not sure, DC, I'm not sure. We're just kind of talking about the podcast that I have coming here. And it's not going to be like your traditional podcast setup where you've got like the podcast mics and the audio is as clear. The audio is going to sound more or less like it does here in these regular videos, at least in the beginning. We first want to see if, I think we're going to try to get it across all platforms. That's kind of that's going to be in Ambrin's territory. But I think we're going to try to get it across like Apple and Spotify if we can. But it will, I am oh, okay, thanks, DC. I am a fan of video podcasts. I don't listen to just audio only podcasts. So it is really important to me that we have the video element. So that is why I say this will be on my channel. But as far as the audio itself, I know a lot of people like listening to podcasts, so we'll try to get it across different platforms, but that is something that she's going to have to learn because neither of us knows how to do that. Hey, Matt, I haven't seen you in a while. I think about you every time I have my little, do you see my lint roller in the frame? I'm really excited. You guys are excited about the podcast. I really have been wanting to read the room and see what you guys think. True crime, it's interesting because a lot of people want me to talk about true crime. And although I'm interested in true crime, I really don't think that that is the kind of stuff that I want to cover on my channel. However, podcast is a different story. So I think I might have mentioned, I don't know if it was in a public stream, I think it might have been a Patreon stream. I talked about my fascination with the Elisa Lam story. So perhaps stuff like that. I would love to talk about stuff like that, but I don't want you to expect my channel to ever be like a true crime. No, I don't use a lip plumper. Thank you, though. I just have plump lips, but they also are like skin color, so that's the drawback. Anchor. Thank you. Thank you. I'll try to keep that in mind. Libby, I'm sorry I missed your comment about last public stream. You said that was the last time I talked about Elisa Lam. I thought that was a Patreon stream. Anyway, so now that we've got 91 people in the stream, I'm going to cover whatever videos are coming next. Well, 90 people. So I don't want to be a bitch. I know sometimes I can accidentally sound like I'm coming at anyone in particular, but I'm just going to cover what's coming up. And that way, later on, if anybody joins the stream and then asks these questions, sorry to them. I'm not going to keep addressing this. You guys have so many questions. I don't want to keep answering the same ones over and over again. So perhaps if somebody asks a question and one of you feels nice enough to say, hey, she gave the answer to this already. Hey, buddy. Here's Oliver. Come on, bud. We're still like an hour and a half before dinner, so I don't know if you're just here to say hey or what. Thank you, Summer. And Basic Bitch, thank you for understanding. I don't ever want to be a bitch, but I can be a little bit snarky sometimes, or just keeping up with live streams. I always try to keep up with all of your questions. So, and I myself am so distracted by Oliver looking so cute on camera. So in terms of what's coming up next, I really hoped to record 3 videos this weekend, and that I wasn't able to do that, but I will hopefully still be able to get things up in the time frame I was hoping. Thank you, Cordelia. So what we have coming next, Trisha Part 3 is coming tomorrow evening, most likely. Now, I want to be honest with you guys. Every time somebody has asked me, when is the Trisha series coming, or when is Trisha coming, when is Trisha coming, when is Trisha coming, it's hurt me a little bit. And maybe, not because of anything you guys have done wrong. Oliver might be part Maine Coon. We're not sure. The vet thinks maybe. But I had a couple of very tough weeks in terms of my mental health and really had to take it easy. So a lot of people who, especially my patrons who kind of like follow closely and know like what I'm feeling on a day-to-day basis, and a lot of my subscribers who, pick up on the updates I give, know that, sorry, I got a notification. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. So yeah, Trisha's a lot. So I'm in total isolation here, and it's been tough. Some weeks are really, really tough. And you guys were used to seeing like 2 or so videos a week from me. And then for a week or two there wasn't much. It was like maybe like here's a quick video of my set. Um, so I hated that. I hated that I wasn't pumping out videos, but I really needed to take it easy. And the Trish series, like, that's not a small undertaking. It's a lot easier for me to sit down here and talk to you about the Chris Hansen interview for 30 minutes and then edit that down and post that. And quite frankly, that's going to get almost as many views as the Trish series or whatever. But thank you, Kate. But stuff like the Trish series, stuff like that takes a lot of research and finding a ton of like video clips and stuff like that and editing down. And I just have not had it in me to, thank you, Maddie Blooms. Yeah, thank you for saying self-care is important. So I really needed to take it easy, and it haunted me every single day that I was not putting out the the series part 3. So I appreciate you guys that are telling me to take my time, that are understanding of that. I'm sure there are plenty of people who don't necessarily know what all's going on with me, and they're just like, hey, we're excited for Trisha and the Trisha series or whatever. And I understand that. I'm not trying to be mean to anyone. But just so you guys know, that kind of like puts an added stressor on me every time I hear somebody say, when's it coming? When's it coming? When's it coming? And I'm like, guys, it's coming, I swear. But finally, I had some pretty good days over the weekend, and I was like, let's get this shit done. I love YouTube so much. I love the work that I put into it. I love creating it. So when I feel good, it's not so much work for me. When I'm not feeling good, it is work. It's very difficult. When I'm feeling good, it's what I want to do. So it's like, yes, let's do the research. Let's, record this. Let's edit it. Let's get this up. I want to talk to people. I want to hear what people think. So we have the Trisha series coming. I've mentioned several times I would appreciate it if you guys would give it a look, but I understand it's not going to be something that a lot of people want to check out. But we will also be having the Love Lockdown episode coming, which is where I talk to a few couples whose relationships were essentially turned on their heads or like changed very differently because they were kind of forced into quarantine together either before they were ready or something like that. So I'll talk about Twitch in a second too. So that's coming. And then Shallon Lester. So many people are asking me. Thank you, Shay. Aw. No, Shay, that means a lot to me. Thank you. Yes, I turned on super chats because you guys asked about that. So many people are asking about Shallon Lester. And here's my thought. From what I've seen of her, she just seems to be just kind of this like awful lady who just talks shit about people like celebrities and YouTubers and stuff like that. And I don't care, honestly, about really much of what she has to say. So it is tough for me when every day I've got like 7 DMs in various inboxes asking, when are you going to cover Shallon Lester? Will you consider covering Shallon Lester? So I know that it's what people want. Yeah, Callie, that's kind of the vibe I get. I know that's what people want, but I have heard that a couple of like mental health channels have like kind of dissected what she's talking about and kind of taken a mental health approach. So I'm thinking that I will watch some videos on her, maybe some compilations, and if I feel something, like if she incites something in me, I'm gonna talk about it. But if I watch it and I'm just like, nah, this lady is just like, it's just a trashy person just talking trash, like, then I might not have much to say, and I don't think we need to give people that much stock. Hey, look who else is here. As far as Twitch goes, here's the deal. I ordered I said this in the last stream, so, oh, Mr. Nova Force, thank you so much. Would you be covering the Colleen Ballinger stuff or the Susie Lou craziness? I don't know. I haven't kept up with all of that stuff. I started watching a video about the Susie Lou stuff, and I couldn't keep up with it, I guess, because it bored me. Colleen Ballinger, I am interested in. I saw the video, something about her sending lingerie to this kid, and then later it was like he became her intern. I saw that she kind of didn't want to take responsibility for the whole queer baiting post, which I don't find to be that interesting. It's like, yeah, this kid posted it. She endorsed it more or less. And then she got pissed off when she got backlash. That's kind of, thank you, Joe. You guys are so sweet to me. That's kind of all I gathered from that portion of it. But I would like to dig a little bit more into this whole like lingerie, sending lingerie thing. I'll be straight with you guys. I get weird vibes off of Colleen. I've heard that behind the scenes she is kind of like low-key a shady person. So I am kind of side-eyeing her a little bit. I don't know if I buy this squeaky clean image that she's had. I'm not somebody who's typically seems mean. Yeah, I'm not somebody who's typically skeptical of people in the beginning for no reason. But I will tell you guys one thing that I didn't love so much. During the adpocalypse time, and I don't know if you guys remember, when like a lot of kid content was being hit. I don't remember where I heard that. I don't know. It was a long time ago. When all the kid content stuff was happening, like I felt like YouTube was doing what they had to do, and they were, of course, like not putting ads on anything that had to do with like kids and stuff like that. And I understand, I know that it's a very common thing to want to be like down with the man and fuck YouTube and all of that, but I try to think of things from a business standpoint, and I have to think like, okay, if they're taking down ads off of kid content, there's got to be a reason for it. And from what I understand, it was a very important reason. There was a lot of essential like child predation going on, and you guys know that is like the one like thing that I am not afraid to get bitchy about. So I didn't love it when some YouTubers lots of kitty visitors, yep. I didn't love it when some YouTubers, I get they're frustrated, but it seemed there was special books by special kids. I'm actually friends with that guy on Facebook, and Colleen. I remember them going on Facebook and like complaining and like creating this whole movement, and I feel like although I understood the frustration, I didn't like the whole like woe is me, YouTube is after us kind of mindset. And you guys know that from like my videos about Anthony Padilla. I do believe that a lot of times when it comes to ads, it's because of them. It's because they want to make money too, more so than anybody. They want to make money. So I feel like if there is some sort of really big like adpocalypse or anything like that, it's not necessarily something they want to do. So yeah, so I know that it's easy to be like, screw YouTube or whatever, but when it came to the child stuff, if their aim was to better protect children, perhaps they were under fire. I don't watch a lot of TikTok. I like some. Sorry, I saw that you asked that a few times, so I forgot what I was saying now. Yeah, I felt like what they did was she kept saying they were punishing children, but how much are kids benefiting? Yeah, they're not. And honestly, we've seen so many of these channels. People have asked me a lot about family channels. I don't really watch them, but we've seen certain channels where it seems like the parents are really taking the reins and I don't want to say forcing, but pressuring their children to be in these videos, to create these videos, because kid content is money, baby. And So yeah, Elle, it looks like you're a little late to the conversation, but so I just, it seemed like it was kind of an urgent matter that they had to really crack down on kid content, and I feel like we need to be understanding of that. So, as an example, yeah, Ace Family's trash. Um, as an example, I'm a commentary channel, and I've heard people say, like, I think that commentary channels will be shut down by whatever time, or that we won't be able to talk about certain things because of whatever reason. I have to keep in mind that if that time comes, that there's probably a good reason behind it, and I can't get very woe is me. I'm gonna have to be flexible enough to work with it, change my content, take it elsewhere. You know, lean on whatever I can. You can't. I feel like I just it worries me when people put too much stock in AdSense because it's just too unreliable of a thing. Thank you, Callie. So, you know, I myself am not going to make this my full-time job. You know, say my AdSense gets to the point where it matches my yearly salary. I don't think that I would feel comfortable quitting my job on AdSense alone. Yeah, I'm very nervous about children on the internet. Somebody asked if I was going to be streaming on Twitch. If and when the day comes that I am doing this full time, I would love to stream on Twitch. And I don't want to go too far into it again because we talked about it in the last one. I'm a marketer and a recruiter for a digital agency. So I ordered a gaming laptop. I feel like, at least for now, it'll help the higher performance. Thank you. I agree with Philip DeFranco with a lot of this stuff. I wanted a high performance laptop so that I can edit quicker, but also I'm really daydreaming about the day that I'm going to change the filter on this like I did on my live stream earlier. Just like make it a little prettier. Algorithm can destroy your channel. Yeah. So yeah, so the idea is that once this is my full-time job and I can really dedicate all, I'm gonna move over here so I can see myself, and dedicate myself to really just doing things online. What I would love to do is stream on Twitch. Before I started doing YouTube, I picked up Sims 4, and I was really getting into like building. I think I told you guys that I built my apartment and then built onto it to make it an even cooler apartment where me and my boyfriend lived. But then I also created this, like, I was like working on this really big mansion where the rest of my family lived. So I was doing that, but what I would really love to do, I played World of Warcraft for probably 10 years or so, from when it was in beta in 2004. I was never amazing at it, but I was pretty good. Yes, Matt, you knew this. What's funny is on GameCube a long time ago, I created Jerry Seinfeld's apartment on Seinfeld and then created all the characters. And then I would do things like that with like the bands I liked. So yeah, World of Warcraft. I would really like to pick it up again and kind of start from scratch and just like make a rogue, start it as a baby, go out, do some quests, do some PvP once we get to that point, maybe start on 0 gold and just build it from, thank you, Maddie. Yeah, I started playing World of Warcraft because of my boyfriend at the time and all of our friends and his friends. Hey, Mousy. Bethany, I'm glad you made it here too. GameCube is the best Nintendo gaming system. Matt, I would be so honored to play World of Warcraft with you. I would love that. That would be the dream, right? Does anybody care to know how I imagine my life? A year or two down the line, say this thing goes so successfully well. Mario Kart on GameCube is the best Mario Kart. No, I don't play Animal Crossing. Okay, so you guys want to know. So right now I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. It's great. I love it. A one-bedroom apartment that is 700 square feet is a very nice, decently sized apartment in DC, especially to be in the nicest neighborhood in my opinion. I love it. It's modern. It's beautiful. The location is amazing. But I would love to get to a point where I am able to either rent a bigger apartment or at least or one day buy a condo. But I would love to have two bedroom or a two bedroom with den, so that I can have one room that is dedicated solely to recording my videos, and then also having like half of it be my closet essentially. Like here, I've said that wall that you guys can't see is all of my clothes. It's an alpha system with all my clothes. So I want to be able to have a place to record, keep all my clothes, and then also have like an actual office. So like have a desk where I can do my work, do my editing, and be able to stream on Twitch if I want to pick up those games. So yeah, having a space that is dedicated to just YouTube, and my clothes. It helps with the sound too. It helps with the acoustics. So, would you do a video on the YouTube demonetizing copyright claim system? I don't think that I would, on that system. I don't think that it's inherently wrong. I think that UMG is trying to get the money that it can, and that sucks. But I don't think that that is on YouTube. I think we give YouTube too much credit and blame them for stuff that isn't. Oh, somebody called it. If you guys haven't put a like on it, please put a like on the live stream. I never ask for it. I say that every time. I never ask for it, but I'm bad at self-promoting. Feels weird for me. Yeah, they're both here actually. Atticus is right here, and he's just chilling at the end of the bed, and then Oliver's back here, giving himself a little bath, cleaning his face. Atticus heard his name, so he's getting up. I think you guys are talking about a sweet moment between the boys, maybe? I really hope Oliver... Oh. Hey. There you guys go. I think it was going to be a sweet moment, but and it was a little mini fight. I think Atticus overstepped a boundary, and Oliver let him know that it was not okay. He did the face afterwards. I think they do love I think they love hearing me talk, especially because I've been in isolation. So when I start talking, they come around. They're like, "Mommy, what's going on? People are here. Oh, you must be talking to me." Oliver, what was that about? Did he do something you didn't like? Atticus is a lot younger than Oliver, so sometimes I think he wants to play when Oliver doesn't necessarily want to. I felt like there were too many questions in the beginning. I couldn't keep up, and now it's like, where are the questions, guys? Thank you for hitting the like button for all those that you did. I saw that that kind of like doubled. I never think to. But yeah, I think some people were asking how I'm doing. I've said this before, but for my patrons from the $5 tier up, Matt, you just want to watch the cats? I'll just have a live stream for the cats. Is it okay to ask if I'm part of the LGBT community? No, I'm not necessarily. I would consider myself an ally. I'm not like a big time activist, but I am a cis female, straight, as straight as I can imagine myself being, as much as sometimes I wish I weren't. All of those signs, I've looked into it, but I forget because it's just not something that sticks with me. I'm into stuff like psychology and Myers-Briggs and stuff like that. Yeah, I like Movavi for something simple. Do I schedule time for my live streams? I kind of sometimes will just do it when I feel it, like, hey, I think I've got some time this evening and I would love to do it. So you guys, just so you guys know, unless you can't tell, I love live streams. I love them. There are different kinds. I did the public live streams are really exciting because there's so much going on, so many questions. It's so positive, and you guys are all just like firing off all kinds of positivity, and I love it. It energizes me. Several times a week. And so that we've been doing that once or twice a week here lately. And then on Patreon, we do, I would probably say, Libby, Dean, like we do usually like 4-ish Patreon live chats for the $5 and up tier. And those are just kind of like quieter. They're a little bit more low key. There's usually about like 10 to 15 people in the room when we do those. So, and then we did do one that was for both tiers, the $1 up tier, but that really just felt like the same as the other ones. So in terms of scheduling them, like a couple of days ago, I did schedule them for the weekend. I don't think that I can schedule these things too far out in advance. I kind of have to know what my schedule is going to look like. Now, let's talk about the day that this becomes my full-time job. I really see myself being one of those people that maps out their weeks. Like, you know, at this time on this day, I am going to research this. I'm going to film this. At this time, I'm going to stream on Twitch. This time, I'm going to do a live stream. So I think I tend to be a very regimented and scheduled person, but with quarantine and with my mental health being like up and down and so many things with my YouTube career changing so fast, I just don't know that I can really schedule that as much as I wish I could right now. And maybe I will tonight. Maybe I'll sit down with the notebook and see if I can start maybe scheduling things out. I started to schedule out how I'm going to work on these next 3 videos. Yeah, I love structure. I think people with anxiety do. I think it's a matter of having a sense of control. A lot of us feel out of control, and if we have a sense of control over something, it helps. So having control over your day, as long as you're not too rigid, I think is a really good way of kind of assuaging that anxiety. Thank you. Good luck. I do same for school. Yeah, it does help with anxiety. I think we're like anxiety crew here. It feels so good to check things off. And hey Ambrin, we were just talking about you earlier. Here's my tip for anybody who like writes a to-do list. 2 things. Put fun on your to-do list, like something fun that you want to do. Yeah, well, too bad, Ambrin. That's what you get for not joining the chat early enough. No, I'm kidding. They're excited about the podcast. My 2 things. Schedule your fun in. So if you have like, I'm going to do this project from 3 to 4, be like, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to play whatever game. I'm going to take a nap. Whatever that is, plan that in there. The other thing too, which I think is maybe even more important, when you have your to-do list and you're checking things off, if you do something in addition to what was on your to-do list, write that on your to-do list. Add that at the bottom. Because I think it is really important at the end of the day to go back and see everything that you actually accomplished. So it might be that you had 5 things planned and then all these other things happened and you had to put out so many different fires, and then you look at your to-do list and you're like, shit, I didn't get anything done. But if you do write down what you were able to accomplish, then you can see more or less how productive you were. So I don't know that anybody wanted that advice. I don't think anybody asked for it, but there it is. Recommend planning meals in advance. Gabby's new songs. I'm not looking for the hidden meaning. I don't think Dandelion was all that hidden. It was like she's saying that she wishes she were a flower, but she's like a weed. Nobody wants me in her garden. I thought it sounded good. I listened to the more recent one. It felt awkward to me because the video almost looked good, like an actual good professional music video, right? The Glass House, I think is what it was called, except that it gave me too much of these like quarantine production vibes. Do you know what I mean? I'm starting to really not like things that have like quarantine production vibes. So like the last episode of Tiger King, I didn't finish it. Started it. It was like Joel McHale with AirPods and everybody else with AirPods. I'm not liking stuff like that. Yeah, Rochelle, so you get it. So if Gabby had maybe, I don't know how, I guess maybe she's recreated a room in her house that looks like her old apartment or something like that. Because there was, I think there were a couple scenes that had all the like fan art behind her. And I thought that was cool because that was reminiscent of her older videos. But there were some where she's got like really cool like hair and like these contacts, and it was like the effects were so cool. But then you can tell she's in her living room, and it's just like, that's weird. Um, so, oh, maybe it was on the opposite side of her office wall than what we saw when those girls decorated. Hey, Abby, thank you so much for the super chat. Um, okay, well, then that makes sense. But yeah, it's just weird a little bit. I think if I were to be like, guys, believe it or not, I'm releasing a song. And if I did it right in front of my set, like you guys would be like, this is weird. I would think, I don't know. But because Ambrin came in, yes, Ambrin, I hope everybody can give a thumbs up or an exclamation point to let you know how excited we were for the podcast. We were talking about how we might deep dive into certain topics that I don't talk as much about on my channel, but we will be doing that in the podcast. And a lot of people were very supportive of that, excited, hoping to see that across different platforms. And thank you guys so much for letting her know. I want Ambrin is my partner in this, and so of course I see a lot of the support, but I want her to also see how much we are looking forward to this. You guys' support is what drives our. They're saying that yet exclamations excited for the podcast. So we need to read the room and see whether or not you guys are excited about that before really deciding to do something like that. Because if I threw out the idea of a podcast and the room was kind of silent, I'd be like, maybe it's not a great idea. Oh, thank you so much, Mark. That's so sweet of you to give that super chat. Get hype, team. Yeah, we're hype. Oh, Griff the nerd. We love you. The podcast for now, I think, is just going to be called HelloCast because it's going to be on my channel. I'm not sure who Lily Jean is. Billie Jean, though, she is not my lover. She's just a girl that I used to know. Hi, little Sailor Moon. Thank you so much for the super chat and the little cat eyes on the heart eyes on the cat. That's one of my favorite emojis. What kind of music do you like? I addressed this in my last one, but a lot of indie alt rock poppy type of stuff. So if you really want to get a vibe for what I'm listening to a lot of right now, actually, would you guys like for me to share with you my Spotify playlists? What I do every season is I put together a playlist of songs that I am going to listen to that season. I work on it the season before. Like every time I hear a song I like, I dump it into the next playlist. And so that's every season. Now, I will be honest. This year, because of quarantine, I think I'm going to lump spring and summer together because I'm not listening to my music as much. But honestly, if you just search for me on Spotify, Alicia Wait For It Page, Wait For It being one word as my middle name, I've always got playlists coming up for every season. And you'll get a vibe for what I listen to there. There's one playlist on there that says PCB Special. PCB stands for Panama City Beach. But that is really just a collection of my favorite songs from these playlists, at least from the past couple of years. But I listen to a lot of indie alt rock, indie pop, stuff like that. A lot of kind of indie R&B as well. But in terms of like bands that everybody knows, I listen to a lot of 1975. In terms of my favorite small band, it's called Joan, Joan. There's another artist named Bomb. I really like her. King Princess, I like. There's a lot of stuff like that I'm totally into. Netflix shows, I have a few that I'm watching, but none that I'm in love with. I started watching Too Hot to Handle. It's okay for like something light and kind of trashy. I'm referring to BAUM. Are we talking about the same person? YouTube research depends on the day. It usually takes a good chunk of my day, several hours. Um, I haven't watched Dave. I saw the like Little Dicky. Is that what they're called? Little Dicky videos or Little Nicky, or I don't remember which is which. I know David Spade is one of those. I wasn't a fan. Um, yeah, Netflix shows. I've been watching Too Hot to Handle a little bit. And then, like I said, last night I started the show Hollywood, which seems pretty promising. I actually have found shows on other streaming platforms to be better. So, a lot of people have Amazon Prime. Watch Modern Love. That is exactly what I didn't even know I was looking for. Modern Love was perfection. I loved it so much. It's essentially, people wrote in their like love stories that were all like interesting in different ways, to the New York Times. And so these essays were turned into, this is on Amazon Prime. So these essays were turned into these like episodes. So as an example, like there's one with Anne Hathaway, and sometimes I like her, sometimes I don't. Here, I loved her. Um, so Little Dicky just isn't funny. Not sure Dave would be any good. Yeah, that's how I feel. Um, so, what was I saying? Amazon Prime. Yeah, Anne Hathaway is in one of these episodes where she plays somebody with bipolar. So it's really cinematic, and it's really almost like a musical at points, because you get to watch her in a manic episode, and it's amazing and it's beautiful, and it's almost like 500 Days of Summer, when Joseph Gordon-Levitt sleeps with Zooey Deschanel for the first time, and then he comes out, hey Cassie, dancing to Hall & Oates, and everybody's in blue, and it's just really like a beautiful scene. There's some of that in this, and then it shows you really kind of like her depressive lows. Um, so um, so it kind of gives me that vibe, those vibes. It gives me like kind of Eternal Sunshine vibes in some episodes. I've mentioned, so really you're not going to get a lot of Netflix out of me. I mentioned the similarity cinematically to a show called High Maintenance on HBO. I love that show. Haven't heard about the drama with King Princess. Excited to look into it. Um, there's a show called High Maintenance on HBO. Fantastic show. It is a show about essentially a weed dealer, but it's not like a weed show. It's not like a stoner show at all. What it's about is really kind of like if you follow the life of like this weed dealer who just kind of like travels around Brooklyn with all these different clients. You kind of get these glimpses into their lives, and it's sort of an intimate experience with between the guy. We don't know his name. They never say his name. Ben Sinclair is actually his real name. He's super cute. So it's him riding around town and really kind of like, yeah, that's Cassie. Fruity is Cassie. Um, so yeah, that show I love. I love, love, love. Um, And then Hulu had some good ones. I think Dollface was on Hulu. I was skeptical of that in the beginning. Loved it. Yeah, somebody recommended that I watch Fleabag, and I need to. I hear that it's something that I would like. Favorite movies: Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. After that is Science of Sleep. I Love You Man. There are a lot of Judd Apatow films that I really liked. Some that I felt were really underrated, like Wanderlust. Um, sorry. Um, I was trying to do something, but I don't know if I should or can. Um, so I wish there were a way for me to take a time out to send a message to one of my moderators, but of course I watch Tiger King. Where do I shop? If you're a hater of fast fashion, you're not gonna like me much. I don't buy very expensive items. I switch up my wardrobe too much to do that. I would love to become a person who spends more money on quality pieces and has more of a capsule wardrobe, but for now, For now, I shop at the cheaper places. It used to be like Forever 21 and H&M, but now here more recently, I've been like really looking on online at places like Shein. And then I find a lot of great finds on Amazon. So I've also found that Shein has some of their stuff on Amazon. There's another brand called Sweaty Rocks, I think. So of course it's not like high quality stuff, but like I found this dress to be like dainty and comfortable. I love having these like comfortable little summer dresses. Um, Thank you, Adino sir. Adino sir. Um, yeah, I try to stay pretty diplomatic. Yeah, Libby, I'm okay. Just a little distracted by something. And I'll talk to you guys about it afterwards. Everything's okay, really. Um, get ready with me. Don't think I'm gonna be doing that anytime soon. It's not set up in such a way that would really work. Maybe down the road, maybe when I have that YouTube room. Um, so glad you. Oh, thanks, Diana. Thank you, Cassie. That's so sweet of you. I want to give a shout out to Cassie because there are a couple of people, and I hope you guys don't mind me saying this, but there are a couple of people. You guys know that I encourage people to disagree with me on my channel if that is how you feel, but to be respectful about how you disagree with me. And I have made friends in my comment section out of disagreements. So, I have noticed people like Cassie has really kind of developed as a person. Um, okay, Amberin, I wasn't going to call you out, but Amberin was an OG hater. That's what I always call her, the OG hater. And now we're going to have a podcast together. And my friend Cassie, I've noticed been working a lot on communication and managing emotions, and Cassie's doing such an amazing job. And so it makes me so happy to see how we're kind of all growing together, even if we don't start off as agreeing, more or less. What are your tattoos? You'll have to look at probably my first public stream. I go through because I have so many tattoos. I have so many tattoos that I don't even know how many I have. It's great that that we have those discussions, you mean? I see what you're monitoring. You want me to talk to the moderators? Are you sure, Lori? It's actually not something that anybody here would know. The thing that was distracting me. Anyway, moving on. Really? You and I are gonna have a conversation after this. What are you thanking me for, Megan? Maybe a little sweet guy. The room got silent. For a second there, I was having a hard time keeping up. Differing opinions. Yes, make for good conversation. Yeah, I mean, we could definitely like all put ourselves in an echo chamber, right? And sometimes I think like mean girl cliques could tend to do that, where like you stick together and you have like certain rules for what we believe and what we think, and that's not conducive to growth in any way. And if we're not looking to grow while we're here, then why the fuck are we here? Sorry, I know Cassie's in here and I don't want to curse in front of children. Why are we here? So, I'm all about growth. That's what I always want to talk about. Is having a job fun? No. Most of the time, no. Won't talk about politics. I mean, I'm not opposed to talking about politics. That's tough because that can really derail somebody's opinion of your views. Because, especially right now, think about it. Things are so divisive right now that I would venture to say most people, young people on the internet, young, educated people on the internet, on YouTube, largely are liberal. And it's gotten to the point, especially considering who we have as president, that if you are, say, Republican, a lot of people on the internet will write you off right away. I don't think that that's okay necessarily. People close to me would disagree. But I don't think that we should write people off in everything they have to say because they affiliate with a different party than us. So Gabby snapped on Irene. I need to hear about this. I want to know what you guys are talking about. I want to know the tea. Watched your Jeffree Star Team Pinata video yesterday via Zoom. We had a really nice discussion. Oh, I love that. You guys kind of had your own like discussion around it. I love that so much. On her podcast. So I think I watched that one. Which part are you guys talking about? Because I watched the most recent one. Where did she go off on Irene? I really didn't like the one where they were discussing music. I really hated that. I hated the way she talked to Irene in that when they were talking about Lizzo. Because, like, let's be real, 100% Irene was in the right. And I think Gabby was flexing on being the music expert. Oh, yeah. Then we're all on the same page. You know, it's silly to say Lizzo's been this popular for the past 4 years. No, the hell she has not been. I am not a big Lizzo fan, but I really came to love one of her songs back in, I think it was 4 years ago, 2016. Let 'Em Say, that song. Do you guys know that song that's like, let 'em say what they want to say? Cause I love it. Yeah, I love it. I'm pulling a Gabby like, hey guys, I can sing. I can't, but that song I loved so much. And I even venture to say Gabby might not even know that song. Aw, you're so nice, Merlene. No doing more, Matt? Like no more singing? I don't blame you for saying that if that's what you mean. Oh, you guys can find me on Smule. I sing more over there and I do a better job. I would love to sing with you guys. I think Cassie and we were going to sing a Gabby Hanna song. I recorded it. I don't know if you ever joined me. But yeah, that song by Lizzo, I loved. I found it, I heard it on Broad City and I absolutely adored it. And, but I didn't find Lizzo to be a very popular artist at the time. So what if I'm the most, I just scared Atticus. That was mean of me. You guys know how I can be sometimes. I just did, monster. I just did. It was embarrassing. Oh, I want you guys to see. He's enjoying the pets. I don't know if I can show this with my tripod. He's really enjoying it. And I scared him moving the tripod. You couldn't tell from the original. My little baby. Better sound realizing it. Yeah, so I disagree with her. Just because somebody has been putting out music for a while doesn't mean that they've been as big a star as they've been, and that's rarely the case. It's rarely the case that somebody puts out a single and immediately becomes a sensation. Most very, very popular artists have been putting out music for years and years, especially when you're talking about pop artists, like popular artists. So yeah, sure, Lizzo's been on the scene for 4 years, but when Irene said, I really felt like her rise was more of an explosion, absolutely it was. 100%. Nobody was talking about Lizzo before last year or so. But then like 2019, everybody was talking about Lizzo. So like, don't I say don't come at me, but now I'm like kind of like identifying as Irene right now. Don't come for somebody and try to act like whatever, you know. So that's how I felt about that podcast. Came for Alicia, stayed for the cats. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. They're sweet boys. They're sweet boys. And they're totally fine, even though they had that little tiff. That was just Oliver kind of setting a boundary for Atticus. When she called out, yeah, the rice cream situation. Ugh. Gab is pissed at Ray for daring to know more in her presence. It's got to stop. I don't think I spoke enough to this when I made that video because I think I was trying to cover too many things at once. But I think that, we talked about Colleen a little bit earlier, so if you do go back and watch the playback, you might get the answers that you're looking for. I think it's fine to want to like dip your toe in a lot of different creative mediums. I am somebody who has done that a lot over the years. I have a ukulele I tried to play. I am an interior decorator and a fashion designer and a fashion stylist and you know, all this stuff. But, and I think that's good. That's good to kind of explore all these different creative mediums. When I have a problem when you try something and within a year or two you claim to be some sort of expert on that, and really, and even if you are an expert, to really kind of brush off somebody's opinion. Even experts can value what other people have to say. Debut album. Don't hold your breath for it, Matt. I'll continue to sing over on Smule Sing, but that's pretty much it. I have VIP access, baby. And that's, no, I'm not going to do it. I was going to do a Gabby, but yeah, I think she's got to cool it with being an expert on everything. Yeah, I got like awkward when I was talking about the rap expert stuff. When I was like, she was kind of like a rap expert, and Matt, I just talked about the kind of music I like. Yeah, I don't like the whole, how do I say this? I don't know if I should say it. Yay, Amy. Yeah, experts who are knowledgeable are, I think, especially experts and experts on the rise, especially, are typically open to hearing other people's perspectives. It's really important in terms of growth. And if you truly are an expert at something, say I were a poetry expert and some amateur poet came to me and said, hey, this is my opinion on this or that. I think a true expert would know how to have a conversation with that person and being very respectful to other people when talking about their craft. So the fact that you're going to snap at somebody, be like, absolutely. And like, who talks to their friends like that, dude? Like, just like, no, absolutely not. No. And that's why I'm saying that what you're saying is wrong. I can't imagine talking to my friends like that. I mean, I guess some people do and some people are cool with it, but I felt bad for Irene in that moment. So yeah, I don't know how I feel so much about like young white girls wanting to be like, oh, I'm such a gangster rap expert. It feels very odd to me. I know that it's like it was like a wave in the past couple of years, and I just felt like she kind of rode that wave, if I'm being honest. She probably looked into the drama and whatever. Maybe she is an expert. Always the replays. I'm glad you made it, Angela. Is it on Hello, maybe? I saw the kind of accent over it. I don't want to say anything that's going to get me in trouble, but the whole rap expert thing makes me feel weird. That's cool that you were able to put a YouTube symbol in there, Gabby. Or Gabby, Cassie. Do I watch Blair White? Sometimes. I used to watch a couple of her videos here and there. You guys now are familiar with my friend Ambryn. She, I think, watches more Blair White than I do and recommended So you guys are able to do that. In my last video, I told you that when I was talking about and thinking about all this like Jeffree Star stuff, and then the Team Pinata stuff happened, and then that person that left that disturbing comment, I saw that she commented again and was like a lot nicer. I'm going to tell you guys about that. But then my friend Amberin was like, hey, check out this video by Blair White on, are they maps or are they MAPs? Like, which one? First or the second? So Blair White's been coming up a little bit more in my autoplay. And I love hearing her perspective. I don't have to agree with everything, but I do appreciate how she maps is in the world. Okay, thanks. Mark Ritchie, thank you so much. I look so happy and healthy. Can I ask, how did you get sober while dealing with anxiety and depression at the same time? It's hard. That's really tough because I can't say that I was dealing with anxiety and depression before or during my alcoholic years, if that makes sense. I was dealing with a lot of anxiety, but that anxiety oftentimes came from alcohol withdrawals. So it was really hard to tell whether or not I actually had anxiety outside of alcohol withdrawals. Yes, I'm sober now. Well, I mean, I guess that depends on your definition. Some people think that if you take prescription medication that you're not sober. I am of the mindset that if you are taking, yes, from alcohol, I haven't had a sip since October 3rd. I don't abuse any of my medications, but I am on medications to help me get through this. So, and I haven't really had hobbies. I've been doing YouTube and working and trying to read my books. But yeah, in terms of dealing with alcohol and depression, I can really only speak to that after I had gotten sober, and really all I can say is get the proper medication, get into therapy, and find every single way that you can get the support that you need. Meetings are great for that. I know that if I am going absolutely insane, if I get my ass into a meeting, I will feel better. And that might be one of the most disheartening things about this quarantine. I know that there are online meetings, but I really just miss that feeling of being able to walk across the street and go into my favorite meeting and just sit in a room and feel better. Oh, thank you, Maddie Blooms. You do know me if you watch my videos. So yeah, that's what I would say in terms of dealing with alcohol, or in terms of dealing with anxiety and depression. Do not lean on alcohol. If you find yourself kind of like getting to that point where you're leaning on it too much, put the brakes on it, because as far as we know, people can get to the point where they rely on it so much that it goes from a dependency to an addiction. And once you get to an addiction, you can't go back, and you can't ever have a drink again, unless you want your life to go to shambles. Online therapy. Online therapy is not the same. It did turn out to be better than I expected it to. Yeah, DC loves its alcohol. I remember, I haven't been to a gym in a long time, but I remember when I used to go to one of the gyms nearby, at 5 o'clock, this sounds gross, but there was a very familiar scent in the air, and it was, to me, and it could be all in my imagination, there was a smell of people working off the alcohol from the night before at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 5:30. So I think DC is like a slightly functioning alcoholic city. But what's the next video over? Trisha, part 3. And then Love Lockdown. My partner said DC's favorite pastime is day drinking. Oh yeah, DC, I could describe a typical DC basic bitch and basic bro for you. I mean, they love their Oxford shirts and polos and boat shoes and brunch. And by brunch, I mean day drinking. And, a lot of times they try to pass it off as being classy by drinking wine. And I think it's all kind of a ruse for just drinking. Yeah, all you can drink mimosas. They love that here. Reminds you of Kansas City. Yeah. I never liked wine. Like, I'm sorry. I'm an alcoholic and I drank harder than anybody else, but I'll be straight up, like, didn't like the taste. Didn't want to enjoy a glass of wine. I don't want to talk too much about alcohol though, you guys. This has happened before in like our Patreon chat, and then it became really kind of like triggering for people, especially people in quarantine. I don't know if I'm going to go over the Colleen controversy. I would tune into the podcast to see if we talk more about that. Never. I was a fan of Miranda Sings when she first came on the scene. I couldn't tell if she was trolling or not. And so that was really funny. I thought that she did that character really well. Her videos, Katy Perry, California Girls, and Bad Romance, Lady Gaga, Bad Romance. Those videos were just hilarious. I think that over time, I really started to not vibe so much with her personality, like her actual personality. And from hearing people say that she might not be the nicest person behind the scenes. Podcast is likely going to be recorded sometime next week and up the week after that. How frequently we're going to do it, I'm not so sure. These are all details that Amber and I have to figure out, and this is a decision that we made literally this weekend, like Friday. It's, we have gold conversations. Why not put that on camera and share that with the world? Yeah, no hard release date. I am going to be alone this weekend, so I probably will have time to edit. So it might be up early next week, but don't hold me to that. Thank you, Sarah. You like my headboard too? I treated myself to this bed frame over the holidays, but it's kind of uncomfortable if I'm trying to like lean against it. Bye, Cassie. I'll talk to you soon. Bold blue and screwdriver mean? What does the bold blue and screwdriver mean? I don't know. That's quite a riddle. What does that mean? Bold blue and screwdriver. Are you talking about drinks? I know screwdriver is vodka and orange juice. Yeah, thank you guys, mods, for answering questions that I might miss. Oh, the wrenches. The wrenches are my moderators. Yeah, this is something new. We learned from the past couple of public streams that we really needed a mod or a few. So these are my lovely patrons. They are too good to me. But we have, I think, developed a really awesome, really tight-knit, supportive community over on Patreon, and a good handful of them were happy to jump in and moderate, and I can never be thankful enough, because not only are you guys doing, like, I thought I was just gonna have you guys here to like kick out the creepos, right? But you guys are also helping me to keep up with the questions, because you guys know I want to answer everyone. So I thank you. I thank the moderators. Thank you, moderators, for coming in and helping us out with the chats. We do need to stand this wholesomeness with the patrons. We do. We do indeed stand this whole. Yes, we need to, and we do indeed. Yeah, I do say things like they're doing the Lord's work. They are. They're super helpful, and I'm so happy that I had so many people offering to help with something like that. And it's going to definitely make me more comfortable doing these live streams more often. I'm not gonna hush, Griff. You're a nerd. That's the worst thing I'll say. Do you believe you can support the art and not the artist? I love Gabby's music, but not a controversy. I think to some extent, yeah. I always used to say that I wanted people to separate their like politics from their art, and but yeah, I mean, there are plenty of artists where I like their work, but I don't like them as a person. Like, this might be too extreme of an example, but like R. Kelly had some really great music. He as a person, obviously, is, oh my God, like the worst of the worst. Friends at a sleepover in this stream. Yeah, especially because I'm like on my bed and we're like, hey guys, let's chat. I almost feel like this is like one of the skits that's either on like Jimmy Fallon or like SNL. We're like, is that gross? Except for instead of like other girls, I have two cats flanked on either side. Oh, enthusiastic hobo. No pressure, but that's really appreciated. Um, Ton of podcast comments. There you go. Amber is the worst with keeping up with these streams. I'm kidding. Um, we definitely can't separate it. I don't know. I don't know. I can recognize a good song. I can recognize that he's a good singer. I think that, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but I think that this movement of refusing to listen to or watch or view a person's artwork because of whatever crimes they've committed, whether social or actual like criminal crimes. I think that that's somewhat new because maybe because we just know so much because of social media, but I don't think it used to be that much of a thing. Yeah, because we've known about R. Kelly. We've known this for a long time. He married Aaliyah. She was 14. Like, none of this is new. But back then, we loved Aaliyah's music. Some people stand them as a couple. Trisha's OnlyFans. I'm not subscribed to her OnlyFans. Cancel culture. I am not a fan. I kind of compared it once in a video to capital punishment. It is one of those things where you have to consider, is this person a danger to society? Is this person a danger? Is having this person on this platform any longer a danger? Whether or not Trish, I think, is truly a danger. I mean, I know you guys don't see the passion in my voice when I talk about her. I think that she's messing up left and right, and I think she needs to get off the platform for a while until she figures that out. I'm not going to subscribe to her OnlyFans. But people like Onision, right, who has a platform, has been grooming teenage girls for however long, is completely losing it. I don't necessarily think that we should be like, cancel so-and-so and cancel so-and-so because we don't like them. It's more like, this person is a danger to the platform. They need to get off the platform and they need to get help. Some of them need to be put in prison, or some of them need to get psychiatric help before they end up in prison. And so I definitely think that's the case with Onision. He may end up in prison one day, but he definitely needs psychiatric help and needs to be off the platform. So I, for a second there, thought Avocado might need to be canceled just because his presence on the platform seemed to pose a danger to himself and others. Trisha is continually doing things. Ew, I think I've heard that about Nikocado. Trisha I wanted to extend a certain amount of empathy and compassion to her when she first put out her DID video, because I felt that she was really just trying to identify with somebody and just latched onto the wrong thing and offended a lot of people. And where I was trying to say, like, guys, let's just be a little open-minded, give her a chance to, like, back off from this and figure out what her deal is, then she continued to go on and ride the wave of that controversy. And because she was not respecting any of us who were trying to leave the door cracked a little bit, that's where I felt like perhaps she needs to be off. Boyfriend tag. Well, my boyfriend doesn't live with me. And sometimes I've thought about that. I don't know. I don't know how he would be in front of the camera. I'll have to ask him. I don't know. That definitely is like old school YouTube vibes. I guess it depends on what you mean by cancel. I don't believe in, this is something we talk about on Patreon. I don't believe in outright canceling somebody in general. I'm not talking about YouTube. I'm not talking about social media even. I've done the cinnamon challenge. Did anybody watch that on Barats and Beretta? The song A Man in a Dream? Anyway, I believe in, I've said this before, having at least a sliver of hope for people, a chance, the smallest chance, because I think that having that sliver of hope and opportunity for people allows people to grow. So if we don't if we don't give anybody, if there is somebody that we won't give any of that opportunity to, Onision or whoever it is, if we say that we are not going to leave the door even cracked a little bit for you to learn and grow, then who's to say that he's not going to grow to be a monster of so many like incredible proportions that we haven't even seen yet. I think that when you outright cancel someone like that is when you see people commit horrific crimes where they're not just like doing this like thing to teenage girls, but then they're like shooting up schools and stuff. Not saying Onision's going to do that, but what I'm saying is when you don't give people any opportunity to grow, what is going to stop them from doing something horrific? Do you know what I mean? So I think every single person needs to have at least the opportunity to earn their redemption one day. Thank you, Eliza. I appreciate when you guys like hear me out. Yeah, and at the same time, what does cancel culture even mean? Because you hear people say all the time, like, oh yeah, I was canceled back in this day, or like, I was canceled a few times. What does it mean? I love a redemption arc, Dean. Love it. You guys know that. That's what the whole Gabby thing is about. People should definitely be held accountable, 100%. But that's, I think you guys have hopefully figured out by now that is my thing. Hold a certain amount of empathy and compassion for people, but also hold them accountable. Those two things, I've said it before and I said it much better in one of my videos, but if we hold people accountable for their actions and allow them room to be human, that's when you see real growth happens. But you can't see growth unless you have those two things. Those two things are essential to seeing personal growth. You can't let people just kind of get by with whatever and just have yes people around. And you also can't just completely write people off if you want to see them grow. And BPD is borderline, you guys. Yeah, Gabby's thing, in my opinion, is just that I think she is a sensitive girl. I think she's got it in her. I think that she can learn one day. I think that she does not. She's not ready to look inside herself. And the sad thing is that, and I can only imagine, so of course this is speculation, but it's a lot easier to say, okay, I'm going to take a look inside myself, look at my flaws, own up to my shit. Actually, and part of that is admitting that to another person. That's what we do in AA. Talking about it to other people, saying like, look, I messed up. When it came to Jessie Smiles, I was not a good friend to her. And I need to say that very publicly. And I need to not just say it in an apology notepad. I need to tell you guys that I messed up, that I wasn't a good friend there, that I was opportunistic, that I whatever. Saying things like that and really looking into yourself and seeing where you are misstepping is really hard. However, I don't think it's nearly as hard as kind of fighting against the tides all the time. She's constantly fighting people to try to defend her name. And I feel like that's got to be so much more work, but it's because she's being a coward. I always check you're okay. You guys, if I tell you I'm doing okay, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. It's the past couple of days have been a lot better. I am really tired because I think I said this really early on in the chat, but for my $5 and up Patreons, I do walk vlogs. It's kind of my way. It's kind of like a good form of therapy for me to help with the anxiety, is to not only get out, walk around, show you guys what DC looks like, but also talk about what's on my mind. And I promised Dean that one of these days I would go to Georgetown. I already wanted to go to Georgetown, but then Dean said he really likes The Exorcist, and so he's like fascinated with that. So today I have an electric scooter and I took it down to Georgetown and kind of explored there a little bit. I parked my scooter and walked some, and there are a lot of hills. And aside from the fact that I haven't gotten much exercise in quarantine, I had a really what I call a depressive crash last week, I guess, Monday, and then was just kind of spending the week trying to gain my strength back. I'm struggling with isolation too. It's been really difficult. But I've been trying to gain my strength back. So being able to walk up and down those steep hills in Georgetown was a big feat for me. Even being able to scooter, because you have to like have some sort of leg strength to hold yourself up and like balance. So yeah, Dean is one of my patrons. Super chats were working for some people. I've had a couple people send them. Is that the proper way? Is that how kids talk about super chats? Chat them, super them. Queen of not fully listening. That's me? That's not nice. Dean is mod and patron and everything. Yeah, I think for people, we've talked about this on Patreon too, and I may have talked about it in another stream, but you know, this quarantine is having different effects on different people. Of course, you know, you've heard that a lot of divorce rates are up, domestic violence rates are up. I was talking to my friend from MIT, and she has a baby, or she has like a toddler. And I thought, you know, I get jealous of people that have these like little families, like a baby and a husband, that are able to enjoy their time together. But she pointed out to me that this time has been very tough, because this is the time when her child is supposed to be socializing. So she's afraid, like, her child is bored, and she's afraid that this is going to hinder her socially. So so that's one way it's affecting people. We hear that it's affecting couples in the ways that I said. And oh, Sophia. Oh, you thought Dean was my boyfriend. No, Dean is a boy and he's my friend. But my boyfriend's name is Jake, in case anybody's wondering. And then lastly, I think the last group of people that I hope you guys can keep in mind are those of us who are in complete isolation. So, and then on top of that, the Rewired Soul talks about this, but not only being in isolation, but being sober. You know, I'm at this almost 8 years, and I'm not gonna drink, you guys, I'm not, but I've never had the thoughts of alcohol kind of try to weasel their way into my brain as much as they have during isolation. So, you know, definitely, like, if you're the praying type, send your prayers out to those of us in isolation. Check in on those that you know that are completely alone, because it's completely a different monster for people that don't have pheromones nearby to smell. I think that's what it is, honestly. But yeah, I do believe we'll get through this. And I'm not saying that this is the right way to do it, but I need to think about my sobriety. My dad lives in Colorado, and he is out here in Virginia because he's closing up his business that he had out here. So he is going to be in town, and I am going to let my dad stop by and give me a hug that I desperately need. I'm going to be super quarantined for the next month or so anyway. So I'm not too worried about myself. So thankfully I'll be able to get that, you know, some dad time. And I'm sure that that'll help me kind of reset some of this mental health stuff. So, but I'm already starting to feel a little bit better, so that's good. Yeah, I know, Livy. I was thinking that too. Lorian, I need to make you a moderator if you're here and if you're open to that, because you're so good at stuff like that about keeping people on track. Libby's good at reminding us to drink our water. I'm talking about Patreon stuff. But yeah, if anybody's wondering, I have definitely been on the mend since not this past week, but the week before that, where I was experiencing a lot of anxiety. Monday, I was really, like, I crashed, and I've been building up my energy since. My mood is totally fine. I'm just kind of building up my strength again and really, like, diving into my hobbies, which are YouTube related stuff. So I appreciate how much you guys support me. I appreciate you guys trusting me and having faith in me when I say that I'm doing well or that I'm not doing well, that I want to dive into this or I need some time here. You guys are great. You guys are amazing about that. Those of you who support me in different ways, whether that be on Patreon or emotional support group. So, yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for that. I will always be honest with you guys about where I stand with my mental health. And yeah, and we'll probably have another one of these very soon. We need to log off. Lorian, I want to talk to you. Maybe you can send me either a DM over Instagram or Patreon, but can we chat for just a second after this live stream? Actually, Lorian, if you have Instagram, please send me your Instagram handle, and then I want to add you to the I want to add you to the moderator chat if that's okay, because I want all my mods to know what was going on. It's not a big deal. It's nothing big. All right, I love you guys. You don't? Okay. Well, I will tell the mods and I'll tell you over in Patreon and we'll keep it. It'll be good. I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight on this Sunday night. I'm sure that we'll do this at least probably once a week for a while. All right. Love you guys. You stay healthy too. Drink your water, as Libby would say.